I was working at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. I was a machinist apprentice, and so I was making I think about 36,000 a year. I was on track to get a promotion to like I think 50 or something like that once I graduated the apprenticeship. But I said, screw that, I'm chasing my dream. So that's where I was when I quit. And then this past year, 2022, I finally hit that million. So I did it 1 million and like $3,000.
Today's guest started off his journey within the cleaning industry, owning and operating a commercial cleaning franchise. After climbing the ranks tremendously within the corporation, he decided to split ways and bet on himself to open his own successful business. While working the many years under his franchise, he has accumulated a ton of educational information on how to own and operate a successful commercial cleaning business. He is a father, a husband, a very successful YouTuber, a dear friend of mine, and the founder of Clean Biz Network. I would like to introduce today's very special guest, Mr. AJ Simmons.
Hey, what's up, Caroline? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview with me. It's a complete honor. As many of you know, Mr. AJ Simmons is not only a cleaning business coach, but also the founder of Clean Biz Network, which I am proudly a part of. So thank you so much for being here. I wanted to know if you could share with us how much you were roughly making before taking the dive into the cleaning industry. And then also, if you don't mind sharing, what your numbers looked like for last year.
Yep. So before I got into the cleaning industry, I guess I'll go off of my most recent cleaning company. I started in 20, I think 14. So for that one, I was working at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. I was a machinist apprentice, and so I was making I think about 36,000 a year. I was on track to get a promotion to like I think 50 or something like that once I graduated the apprenticeship. But I said, screw that, I'm chasing my dream. So that's where I was when I quit. And then this past year, 2022, I finally hit that million. So I did it 1 million and like $3,000.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Oh
you.
man, what a goal. That is crazy. I feel like that $1 million mark is every entrepreneur's like dream come true.
Yeah.
So big up for that. That is such an inspiration.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't really feel it like when I did it, right? It was more so a thing where I looked at my bookkeeping software and just saw it and was like, oh shit, I did it, right? Like, can't believe I actually did it. But it took years, and I, like I said, I couldn't really feel the difference, honestly, because, as you grow, you got more expenses as well. But I definitely, like, once I saw it, it's just in disbelief, but it's really more so a thing about solidification. Like, it helps me feel like, okay, now I'm stamped. You know what I mean? Now I'm officially a big dog because I know that I actually did a million in a year. So that's about all it is.
No, that's awesome. And to be clear, you were already a millionaire. This is just the first year that you reach a million in revenue.
Exactly.
Amazing. That is absolutely an accolade to be proud of. And I can't wait to reach that number as well. But yes, truly motivating and inspirational. Big congratulations on that. I can't wait to be able to tell you the same thing, like
Absolutely.
many of us in the cleaning industry. So huge congrats on that.
Thank you.
What inspired you to reach that $1 million mark?
It's more like a confirmation, more so. Like I felt like, I'm on YouTube. I got all of these subscribers. I'm giving all of this great advice, but and I know it's great because I compare it to the guys that make all of the money that's way more than me, and I'm saying what they would say. And sometimes if I, in my opinion, I probably say it better than some of them able to say it. But I always felt like, you know, I wasn't qualified to speak on certain things, or I wasn't as good enough because I didn't make that revenue. So really, that probably was the biggest drive to do that. And then also, my family, because we were already good. My personal household is already fine. We can do 500,000 for the year and be fine, honestly. But it's more so, like I just had a funeral in the family, and the person didn't have life insurance, so I was able to step up and help with that because of the position that I'm able to be in. I have two other relatives where I pay their rent every single month, so it's just like those are the things that really push me to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I want to do 10 million next because I got other family members that I want to help, you know. And then of course, you know, me, my wife, and my kids, we're gonna take more trips, right? We're gonna do a little bit more, you know, fancy stuff on the way. But mainly, the drive is really for the family because I want to be able to help even more.
That's deep. I agree with you 100%. Like, I have my goals, I have set numbers that I want to reach, but ultimately, I want to be able to take care of not just my immediate family, like you, my kids, future spouse, but more so other family members, right? Like nieces, nephews, grandparents, even my mom. Like, I can't wait to buy her a home one day. So that's amazing that you are not just taking care of your immediate family, but also paying others' rents. You're able to help out with funeral expenses and anything that life really throws at you. So that's amazing. That is such, a drive, I'm sure, for you. And I love that. I love that it's not just about, like you said, yeah, we're going to take some trips here and there. Life might improve slightly, but really the ultimate goal is to give back and be able to help family members,
Exactly.
leave a legacy, right?
Yep, for sure,
And that's exactly what you're doing.
for sure.
Many of my viewers know exactly who you are, Mr. AJ Simmons, in the cleaning industry. But for those that may not know who you are, do you want to give us just a little bit of background on how you went from owning your own commercial cleaning franchise and then that transition from being a franchise owner to you deciding, you knew so much info, you had all the tools that you needed to opening your own business and then becoming a coach and a mentor and the founder of Clean Biz Network?
Yeah, you know that's funny because actually didn't come to a point where I knew that I had all of the tools and knew enough information. I think it was more so a sense of necessity. Like when I was with Jam Pro, I had a cleaning franchise with them, right? And so after doing well with them, I kind of wanted to get out because what happened was, you know, I was getting a big name in my city back home in Portsmouth, Virginia. Everybody know me, and I was being a little flashy too, right? I bought my wife a Range Rover, posted that all on Facebook, right? And I'm driving around in my big white Cadillac. We riding, right? So, and then everybody knew I was the cleaning business guy. I had my cleaning franchise with them, and so I was known as a successful guy. Well, that backfired after a while. Even though I was volunteering in the city, I'm giving out advice, giving out free game, but you know, everybody ain't gonna take it right. So somebody broke in my house, stole all stuff, which we ain't have not much in there anyway. We're still in the projects. I just had fancy cars. They thought I had more than I did. I wasn't even balling like that. But anyway, so they broke in the house. And when they broke in the house, I decided, you know what, we got to get out of here. So I wanted to move to Atlanta because I felt like, I mean, if you black, you go to Atlanta to be successful. So that was my goal. I told the franchise I was looking to sell and get out and move down there. But before I even could do it, randomly, because I was doing my YouTube videos like since before I actually even started the cleaning company. Randomly, just happenstance, a Janet King rep from way in Las Vegas reached out to me as on a comment in one of my videos and said, "I love your energy. I love the information and what you're doing. Would you be interested in having a sales job with me out here in Las Vegas? I'll fly you out." And I'm like, email me. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm a type of person that I'm not really interested in jobs, but hell, I was cleaning for so long. Sales sound like it's gonna be nice and clean. The pay that she told me was gonna be all right, plus commissions, where I think it was gonna be like 40,000 a year plus commission, something like that. So it was like, all right, we can do that. You know what I mean? So when that happened, though, I went and talked to Jam Pro, and they were like, "Well, AJ, we didn't know that you would even be willing to take a job. We would love to hire you then, if that's the case." And I said, "Well, that's fine. I'll take a job, but if I take a job, then I don't want to be here." So the master franchise owner locally in Virginia reached out to the corporate guy, Eddie Curry at the time. He was the CEO of the entire Jam Pro corporate. This guy and his couple of, I think, like two people from his board of directors called little old me in the projects, and they just had a conversation with me to see where I really stood at, because they said they thanked me for putting out the information that I put out. Because at that time, I was probably the only person on the internet that was speaking on cleaning franchises and wasn't just straight bashing them. I was just giving out the facts,
And
right?
this was on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Okay.
And so the CEO actually called me on my phone and his board of directors, and they just had a conversation with me, and they asked, "Well, where would you like to live?" And I was like, "Well, I would love to stay on the East Coast so I could still run my cleaning franchise in Virginia, but I also want to be somewhere hot." So I thought by saying those things, they would automatically get me to Atlanta anyway. But it ended up being not quite Atlanta. They ended up moving me to Jacksonville. And so I'm still here to today, and I'm glad that they found this location for me because I think I wouldn't have made it in Atlanta anyway. It's too. I'm not a city guy like that. Like it's too fast. So anyway, come down here, take that job here in Jam Pro, and needless to say, as I was doing the job, I just started to disagree with a lot of things that I was seeing, and it wasn't that local franchise owner in particular. It was the whole franchise model as a whole, like the way they would charge you for accounts and say that they're selling you accounts even though you never actually own them. They still own them and they have the right to take them back from you even after you paid for them. So just a little stuff like that I learned over time, and I was like, you know what? I can't do this no more. Like I got these franchise and I was the franchise consultant at the time. I'm training them. And I'm also on YouTube and I'm known as this guy that's keeping it real. So it's like, I don't want to have to compromise my integrity just to keep a job. So it came at a crossroads where I decided, you know what? Either I got to get out of this franchise or I'm going to have to stop the YouTube stuff. So it's an obvious decision. So I decided I'm quitting the job and I'm selling the franchise. So my brother had been home for about 2 years. I ended up selling him my franchise. He came home from prison. And then I also quit the job and I had nothing. But I did have these little things that I was doing called starter kits, right? Cleaning business starter kits that I was selling online. And I would basically ship all of the equipment to people, anybody that wanted to get started cleaning business. I wasn't getting rich off them things by far, but it was something. And so right after that, I thought about, all right, well, what are the franchises doing that I'm not able to do? Because I've got these cleaning business starter kits, but that's not really enough, right? You send them the equipment and all of that, and maybe you put a course with it, but it's still not quite enough. So that's when I came up with the lead generation service where we provide the appointments for you as well to get you further closer to getting your first customers and all of that. So I can kind of compete with the franchises more, and then it's kind of just grew from there. And I started thinking about bidding calculators, social network, all of that type of stuff, and that all of that combined just became a clean business network. And eventually, we even grew into cleaning services as well. But I couldn't start off offering cleaning services because when I quit the job with Jam Pro, I had a non-compete in place that said I wasn't allowed to do any cleaning services or work for a cleaning company. So I was like, all right, well, as long as I keep this stuff online, I'm not violating that non-compete.
How long did you sign that non-compete?
It was 2 years. So 2 years after the date that I left, I could not do anything cleaning related. So that's why I was like, all right, well, starter kits is e-commerce, right? And the lead generation is telemarketing. And then the bidding calculator is that software. So I was like, technically, I'm not cleaning. You know what I mean? So I just kind of got creative until that non-compete was up. So that's really how I went from, you know, the franchise to going independent and doing what we got now.
Creative is like not even the word for you. So what I'm getting from this is that these guys reached out to you, you had this commercial cleaning franchise, you were doing amazing numbers on your own. They reach out to you, want you to take a job in Florida where you currently reside, and you're so happy that you did. And your values were not aligning with the values of this franchise. The more that you learned, how they were operating, and because those values didn't align with you and what you were putting out on YouTube and telling your viewers, you left them.
Yep.
That speaks a lot on your character because most people, or some people, I can't say most people, would still try to push out the crap that they were giving, but you knew, this is not what I want to tell people. This is not the information that I want to share. So you went ahead, split them, knowing that you couldn't open your own cleaning business for 2 years and really bet on yourself, and then got super freaking creative with the starter kits, the calculator, which later on formed into Clean Biz Network. That is amazing, actually. I'm really glad that I got that you're sharing this story because it's genius. Like most people wouldn't leave a company that they're doing so well at just because their values did not align with, what was going on. So kudos to you for staying true to yourself, staying true to your viewers, and pretty much just giving them the finger, right?
Right. And
And betting on yourself, knowing that, hey, for 2 years, like over these next 24 months, I can't clean anything, but I'm getting to the bag regardless, in the cleaning community.
yeah, and I'm telling you, it was not an easy decision by far. And be clear, the guy that I was working for here in Jacksonville, Justin Cowley and Michelle Cowley, shout out to them because they were great people to me. Like I told him straight, he saved my life because even though my company was making more than what they were paying me in salary, my company was making that. I wasn't making that. You know what I mean? And we were still in the project. So once I got that job with him, that definitely like that was our first time actually like living in a gated community and all of that. So we were doing much better once we came to Jacksonville. So he saved my life. And then also when I sold that franchise to my brother, that was another thing because as I was getting rid of the franchise, I had notes on a lot of those contracts, and they were all about to get paid off, and we were about to finally see money from that business that we never saw before. And when my wife saw that, and she's like, "Wait, how you about to give this business? Basically, give it to him because he didn't have no cash to buy it up front. I seller financed it to him, right?" And so she's like kind of fussing at me because she seen me do this time and time again over the years. Like, well, I'm so nice and I'm so giving, and it's like, damn, why we always got to get the shitty end of the sticks? And so it's like he's about to make more from a business that we built than we ever made from it before. And then I'm jumping into basically nothing and just taking a gamble. I still can't believe it worked out and it's grown to what, cause I was just trying to survive without a job. To actually build a business, it really is amazing. I'm just grateful every day for it.
It's a story. I mean, you just left them and then started to do the e-commerce, started to do the lead generation, and then that turned into Clean Biz Network. So I feel like you were just so ahead of your time because the things that you're talking about now and the things that you've done and built, you have people such as myself that are just getting into the coaching and thinking like, oh, maybe I should have a community, maybe I should do courses, but you've been doing this for how long now?
Probably I think 5 years, maybe. If I might be undershooting it, but maybe 5 years.
But you've been on YouTube for
Yeah,
a little bit longer
yeah,
than
that's
that.
been about 9 years, I think.
That is amazing, actually. How do you stay motivated and driven toward your goals? Because a lot of us, I feel like we lack that motivation. Sometimes we lack the drive because, like, for example, with the situation you had with not being able to clean or, compete with them for 2 whole years, most people would just be like, all right, let me just trash this idea and either go find a regular job or, figure something else out that works.
Yeah, it's a number of things. Again, I already mentioned the family part, wanting to take care of them, but then also it's like, what are the alternatives? Like we've already been exposed to this lifestyle. If I don't keep growing and pushing, the cost of living is going to continue to go up. So I have to continuously grow at a rapid pace for it not to catch me. And I'm a visionary too. Like I'm always thinking of, ooh, I can do that. Ooh, I can do that. So it's like I kind of make fun out of it almost. Like if it once it stops being fun, I'll drop it and do something else. Like I come up with too many ideas and so many ideas that it's unbelievable. So I think the key thing is number one to systemize because if you build something, if you put systems in place, and when I say systems, I mean people to work for you and software. It's like between those two things, put it in place so you don't have to do the work. That'll help you build what you had in your mind, and then you can move on to the next thing that you want to build. So just having fun with it, being motivated, monetarily, making sure that you don't want to lose the lifestyle, but only increase the lifestyle that you live, and then also thinking about the family that I want to help as well.
Absolutely. The family is always a number one drive for us. You had mentioned, once it's no longer fun, you move on to the next thing. And I feel like that is so important because I also have went through like similar stages, like, okay, now I'm getting bored of this, or I no longer have the same passion or drive for something. And I feel like maybe a lot of entrepreneurs go through the same, thought process, being that once you start to lose your passion and your drive, whether it's for a business or a project that you're working on, most of us don't want to give up or quit because we might feel like or look like a failure. But really, it's like a failure to who? And it's almost like you're doing a disservice to not only your business or your project, but to yourself. So I feel like for me specifically, I feel like when people pivot or when I wanted to pivot or how I'm pivoting now is you don't want to feel like a failure, right? But in reality, it's not so much a failure, it's doing what you love and then creating that next business, that next project. So yeah, I feel like that's very important for a lot of entrepreneurs to know and understand that if you start getting bored, if you start getting tired, if you're just not feeling it anymore, and it's becoming like a job, then it's okay to go on to the next thing because clearly, just as you've showed us and proven, it can be successful. that next move that you make.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just piggyback on that, and I will say, I mean, if the thing that you're doing gets boring, but it's making you money and paying your bills, then fine, right? You do what you got to do until you can make that pivot. And again, put somebody else in charge of doing it, not just necessarily stop doing it altogether, but get somebody else to do
Right. Remove yourself from
it.
that.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm removing myself more from the cleaning business to, focus on this next thing, which is content creating and helping other people. So I think that's really important too. Yeah, he's not saying go quit or throw your business in the trash.
Right.
If it's making money, if it's generating revenue, then teach somebody, and then it goes back to the systems, putting people in place so that your business can operate and that you can focus on that next project. So tell us a little bit about Clean Biz Network for those that are not familiar with exactly what Clean Biz Network is.
Yep. So Clean Biz Network, as of today, because I changed my mind and changed the business so much, but I'm trying to do my best to keep it as consistent now. So it's basically a community for aspiring as well as current cleaning company owners to come and just learn, be coached. It's bidding calculators. It's a social network. It's anything you can think of that you would need for a commercial cleaning company. Residential too, but mainly commercial because that's my background, and I can kind of I'm building it, so I always tailor it around what I wish I had when I was out there, right? And so that's what it is. I mean, it's a subscription based model, so it is a monthly fee on it. But you can join, and I do weekly coaching calls every Wednesday right now. Sometimes those days switch, but I try to meet at least once a week. Like I said, it's bidding calculators for you for any type of cleaning job. It's proposal generators. It's invoice feature. It's, I mean, you name it is in there. So definitely check it out. And really, how it formed was, just wanting to help people. And I want to go back to this too because you asked me earlier, like, how did I feel like I knew that I had all the information needed to do this next thing? But I didn't. What it was I was just on YouTube. When you go to my oldest videos, those crusty, ugly, dirty ones, right? I'm just riding down the street, and sometimes I wouldn't even have the phone facing me because I was that self conscious, right? But I knew that I had information that people could learn from, and so I would just put it out there, and people would, ask questions like, AJ, well, can you be my mentor? Well, AJ, can you coach me? Well, AJ, how you do? And I'm like, you know what? Why don't I put this community together? And I'm looking at it, twofold. Like, okay, on one end, that's another stream of income. On the other end, I'm helping more people, right? Because if I try to do one person, I mean, I'm touching what, maybe 10, 20 people a month. But if I do a whole coaching program, actual community, well, now we can help thousands of people a month or more. You know what I mean? So that's when I really learned, like, you know what? I'm gonna have to actually monetize this thing. And that's another thing too, just to touch on that, because a lot of people wonder, like, well, if you want to help people, well, why are you charging? Well, that's because that's the only way you're gonna get the maximum effort out of me, right? As entrepreneurs, as business people, like, we live in a capitalistic society, so everything that's of value has to get something in return for, in exchange for that. So that's why I have to charge in order to provide good value to you. Because if it's just free, I mean, hell, technically, even the YouTube isn't free. Now to think about it, because I was like, look at my YouTube videos compared to my coaching and my courses and all of that. It's not exactly the same, but even YouTube, like YouTube's paying me on behalf, for the viewers. So, because I guarantee you, if YouTube wasn't paying, I probably wouldn't be as dedicated to those videos, even though they don't pay me much. But at least it's something. So, the more that I can receive monetarily, the better I can provide value for you, right? I can take the time out to study and figure out, all right, how the hell do you build an app without knowing how to code, right? Or how do you put this calculation and make that calculation, like if you tell me square footage, I can, all of that, right? I don't even know how I got there, but hopefully it answered whatever you just
No,
asked
no,
me. I'm sorry.
absolutely. And actually, I wanted to piggyback off that because that's a very good point. A lot of what we put into it has to be paid because now you're taking time out of your day. And it's not because, oh, he has all the answers. No, guys, it's because literally it takes time to build a community. It takes time to edit a YouTube video. This takes time away from our families, our day-to-day activities, and our businesses if we have one at the time. So of course you have to charge. And you do have a ton of free resources on there as well on YouTube. And I've seen some of those crusty videos you're talking about. And it's really like amazing to see. And I've also seen some where you did just like the voice recording, but the the progression and like the professionalism is it's you can totally see it in the videos. And I also want to give you a big up for making the videos, even like when you said you didn't feel confident to be on camera, or even for making videos when you're not even sure, before you got those couple of inquiries and people commenting, but even before you even knew that anybody needed this information, you had the drive, the motivation, but also you weren't super self-conscious to the point where you didn't put those videos up. Because I feel like so many of us are in or have been in that same boat where it's like, okay, I don't feel like I know enough to share it. Or maybe I'm gonna put this video up and I'm gonna look stupid. Nobody's gonna like it. And these are thoughts that I've had myself, right? Like so many times. And you just went ahead and still put that content up and you were consistent even when your community was small, when you didn't have, what are you up to, like 55,000 followers now on YouTube?
Yep. Yep.
Yep. So
Somewhere around there. I don't really know, but
yeah, I think
yeah.
it was like 55 or 57 last time I checked. But I imagine, starting out, you don't have those kind of numbers. You don't have that kind of response at first. So how long did it take for you to realize that you had something, something going here with the content creating and the coaching?
You know what? I don't know the answer to that, and let me explain why. It didn't take. All right, well, I'll explain why first. I don't know the answer. It's because there was this channel on YouTube called "You Are Creative," right? And so all that they did on that channel was put up law of attraction, self help type of stuff, right? But the guy never showed his face. So that was kind of my goal, and what he would do is he would get the stuff out of the public domain, I believe it's called. So it's royalty free, all of that, and you could just put it up there. And I did that for my very first video, which was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I put the whole audio book up there. And so that was kind of how my channel went. Like, just that one video kind of went viral. I think it had 1 million views on it. And this was my old channel. It's not the channel I have now. The channel you see today is not even the channel I started with. I got that channel taken because I was trying to use other people's content. But anyway, while I was trying to help people, because it's like, all right, I'm going to put out this self-help stuff. But I also was, I'm trying to get some money. I'm trying to diversify my income, right? And so I started off doing that. And then when I put out, and I was like, all right, after a year of that video going and going and going, I started to see, I can monetize now. So then once I was like, all right, I'm gonna let it run. So then it finally got it to that $100 where you got to make $100 and they'll finally give you a check. YouTube, I'm talking about. And once that happened, it was like, oh, showtime. I'm uploading every day now. Now I know it's actually real. Like you can make money on here, but say look. So I went and I put my first video. I believe it was about law of attraction. I was just talking about what I knew about that. Second video was about I think I put my daughter up there counting to 10, right? Because I didn't know. I'm just putting stuff up to see where to stick. Then the third video I put up was about cleaning franchises. Fourth video, because I saw the cleaning franchise did good. I said, all right. Fourth video was just how to start a cleaning business in general for those who don't want a franchise. And I looked at all of those, like just those 4 videos. The two about the cleaning did the best. And I said, you know what? Nobody else up here is talking about this. I'm just gonna stick with this. And so it didn't take me long at all after I did it because I found a niche very quick and I gave them what they wanted. Because I could have spoke on, like I owned rental property at that time. I could have spoke on that. I could have, spoke on my barbershop. I had 2 barbershops before that. Could have spoke on that, right? And actually, I forgot I did a video on barbershop too, but the ones that stick, every time I spoke about cleaning, those were the ones that got the views. And I said, you know what? I'm comfortable speaking about this anyway. Let's just roll with this. And so that was kind of how I did it. And it didn't take me long, technically, after I actually started showing my face. But from the time I actually uploaded my first video, it took a year because I wasn't even really posting until they actually paid me that $100.
So for our listeners, what AJ was doing was A/B testing. He put the first video up there, was getting monetized, became monetized, and then started to test out, what does my audience want to hear about? or what different types of videos. So that was, that was genius on your behalf, because not a lot of us think, maybe somebody might put up one video, not get the response that they want, and then just shut the whole operation down. That can put you in a position where you'll feel less motivated. So definitely, if you guys are trying to get into the YouTube or the content creating space, put out different content. See what's working, see what doesn't work, see what the response is from your audience. You mentioned owning barbershops and also having rental properties. So you've been an entrepreneur, I want to say, for a majority, if not all of your adult life.
Correct. Yeah, I started when I was 19.
Okay, 19 years old. So you were born with the entrepreneurial bug. And were you self-taught? Was there any schooling involved, or were you learning as you went?
Yeah, combination of all of it. I mean, I didn't go to college or anything for entrepreneurship. I did take a few like business classes in like a community college, just like because I was trying to get that school check. People told me about that school check, right? You can get, and so
Oh yeah, I
I,
know about
I
that.
did that one time for like maybe 2 semesters just to get that money, and I would put it into my business idea. No real actual formal education. I barely graduated high school. It was more so just getting out there and getting to it. I mean, I used to work for a guy named Pops when I was in high school. Actually, it was right after high school, and he had a cleaning company. And he wasn't that really, he wasn't that formal, right? He was a black guy, and he was able to give me and my homeboys our checks. And I'm like, dang, how do you do this? I asked him how you do it, and he told me all you got to do is go buy a franchise. And so I already knew, well, that's what I'm gonna do. Because I knew I didn't want to go to college. I knew what, so it was just figuring it out as you go, watching lots of YouTube videos once I discovered YouTube, lots of Googling and just researching. I would actually literally go to the library and read books on this stuff. Like a lot of people wouldn't take the time out to do that, but I would listen to these motivational tapes and CDs and stuff that would tell you that, do stuff like that. Go to the library and study. When other people are partying, you study, and that'll separate you from them. And it just kept showing me to be true. Every time I tried stuff like that, it sounded corny, it sounded cliche, but I would try it and it was like, damn, I am getting results. So that's pretty much how I learned, just trying stuff and learning on the way, self-taught.
That's amazing. You're a self-taught and self-made millionaire. That is definitely something to be proud of. For those listening, not all of us have to have a degree, right? I have a degree in business. I learned nothing.
Right.
I learned absolutely not nothing, but I feel like I learned more in my first 6 months, even 3 months in business than I did going to a 4-year university. And I'm still paying off my student loans, y'all. So
There you go.
I literally, like, it's so crazy because I'm like, wow. I'm like, why didn't somebody tell me that I didn't have to go to college to be a business owner? You know what I mean? Like, I knew I wanted to be a business owner. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to have a cap on the amount of money I could make, which, a lot of jobs do. They cap you out at a certain number. But had I known I didn't have to go through the whole university
Right.
thing, I would have saved myself 4 years, over $30,000, and I probably would have been where I'm trying to reach my goals to. But yeah, that is super, inspirational, just knowing that if you put your head down, bet on yourself, number one, because you knew that you could do it, or you had that feeling and that drive that you could do it. But really just putting your head down, taking time out to go to the library, read books, like you said, on business, on mindset, listening to those audios, and keeping track of the pattern. Like you said, you would do something, you try something new, you'd see that it was effective, and you'd keep going, as corny as it sounds. Because most of us, it's like you said, it sounds cliche. It's like, okay, stop hanging out with these certain people, instead of doing this on the weekends, spend time doing this. And it doesn't sound like, okay, it just sounds like something that people want to tell us to do. But in reality, it actually has, it is effective and it does work. Are you an avid learner? Are you constantly working on your self-development? Are you always learning?
Nonstop. I mean, it's not and I don't know if I overload it sometime. I don't even know if it's a such thing, but I mean nonstop. So one thing I made sure I didn't get too many subscriptions in my early days of entrepreneurship because I wanted to keep my personal expenses low, right? But the one thing that I had to make the exception for was the YouTube. Back then, I think it was called YouTube Red, but now it's YouTube Premium. But I had to get that little $10 a month because I have to keep something playing, self-help or motivational nonstop at all times. I can't even brush my teeth in the morning without turning on something first. And I mean, it could be. That's why like almost anybody you name in that self-help space, I probably know about it because I run out of stuff from each new person that I discover, and I got to go find a new one, right? And then sometimes I'm listening to myself up there too, but. So constantly, nonstop. Even like I like to play 2K now, right? And it's something else too that I banned myself from playing 2K in the beginning. I told myself, well, if I make X amount of money, then I can play, right? But even while I play that, sometimes I'm playing, some self help in the background. I like to drink my beer and chill, and I mean, even sometimes when I'm drinking, I'm playing some self help sometimes because it's just like I don't want to lose it all. I don't want to forget how I got here. And sometimes I'll stray, like maybe if I go like a day or two playing more music than self help, I feel like lost out here. So it's like, nah, I got to get back to it because now I'm starting to, get into these poor habits. So definitely always learning.
Can you share any advice that you have for aspiring entrepreneurs within the cleaning industry?
Yeah, I guess I got a ton of advice, right? I guess the first piece of advice would honestly be to look up AJ Simmons on YouTube because probably every question that you have about this industry, I probably answered it up there. So if you just type in how to get customers AJ Simmons or how to do this AJ Simmons, it's probably gonna be a topic on that. Same thing with Carolyn as well, by the way, because I see you got some content coming for sure. But I mean, outside of that, just I mean, for those who haven't gotten started, just do it. It's not that serious. You know what I mean? You can do it if I can do it. You know what I mean? Trust me, I'm not that special. So you can do it. Just get out there and do it. That's number one. And those who are in business, my advice to you would be for those who are in the field and you want to get out, the way that I was able to get out of the field was I set a date. I put my plan together for putting people in place to do that. And then once that date came, I got out. And guess what? I made a lot less money when I did it, but it was worth it long time. I got my time back. I was able to get out here and grow more. Cars got repoed because that's how much money I lost. But hey, I did what I had to do. And so with that said, just set a date, go all in. I mean, if you got to say F the credit score like I did for a second, and F it, because honestly, you can build it. It does take long to build your credit back up once you get your money. You know what I mean? It's all about getting that cash flow first. So screw the credit scores, screw what everybody think about you, and then also if you're in a position where you can move, because that was a huge thing that helped me on my journey was getting away from my home state. If you can move, get away. That'll change everything for you because now all of those local expectations, that reputation, all of that don't even matter no more. All of that trying to wear the cool clothes every day, none of that matter no more because these people don't even know you, right? So I would definitely say that as well. But for those who are out of the field now, or better yet, for those who are new and you like, oh, good, I'm on the right track, I'm going to start, and I'm not ever touching anything, I'm going to hire subcontractors to do all the work and I ain't doing nothing, I would advise you against that too, initially. Have that same mindset going into it, but don't make sure you get your hands dirty and get some actual hands-on experience because you're going to lose out here if you don't know the actual industry. And that's just my opinion. It ain't fact, but that's how I feel and that's my advice. So, but overall, more than anything, whatever I did you got in business, just get out there and do it. Take action. Don't be scared. We get one life far as we know. So live it to the fullest. Have fun. Go crazy with it.
Thank you so much. That is really great advice because I feel like so many people are just so scared to take that first step. And really, it's just a matter of taking that first step and, getting things in motion. Once you set something in motion, it actually starts to happen, right? Like we need to put effort into the things that we want to create and the things that we want to do.
Get away from anybody that ain't on what you own, by the way. Like if you know these people ain't trying to build and take it to a higher level financially and even and just mentally, stay away from them. You know what I mean? Like one thing about me, I used to always like hang with all my crew, right? I had this little crew after high school and we would just you do the regular old. You smoke, you drink, you play music, maybe turn on some beats and freestyle, right? But you do your thing, right? You chilling with your bros. But honestly, chilling with your bros ain't gonna get you to the next level. You know what I mean? If those bros ain't building a business, you need to separate and find some new ones that are, right? Get around people who are going where you want to go, and then also don't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be. I know your uncle you know what I mean, your Uncle Joe, you respect him. He might be the best husband you know. But take his advice on being a husband. He can't tell you how to run a cleaning business if he never had one before. So ignore him when you tell him, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a cleaning business, and he tell you, no, you need to go into trucking. And he don't even own a trucking or cleaning company. Ignore him. Go to the people that actually know.
That is great advice because so many times we listen to our loved ones, our friends, our family, sometimes even our partners, and because they don't see the vision that we have, and because it's something that they haven't done or haven't created before, they always want us to play the safe route. And a lot of times, I would say like 6 out of 10 times, it does come from like a loving place. They want us to be safe. They want us to go get that college degree and rack up student debt because maybe that's what they learned or were told to do. However, we just can't listen to that. That negative talk, it could be your sister, it could be your spouse, it could be a friend, your uncle, anyone that is telling you not to pursue your dreams, you just have to shut that down and really, like you said, remove yourself from that friend group, those families, and put yourself in a situation in different rooms and friend groups with people that are going to motivate you. I'll tell you firsthand, I have the pleasure of actually speaking to you outside of, our everyday operations and stuff like that. And the friend group that we have, me, you, Mila, and Diana, big shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
The three of you guys inspire me so freaking much. And like the conversations that we have are like conversations I've never had ever in life. Like, like when you shared what you made last year, I was like, damn, like I don't have friends like this, And that's why I keep trying to build my friend group, my network group, because watching people as successful as yourself, Diana, Mila, and so many others in the industry and outside of the industry, just entrepreneurship in general, is truly motivating. Because if I were just still hanging out or talking to or sharing my thoughts with my friend group, my regular friend group, which there's nothing wrong with them, they just don't have the same mindset or entrepreneurial mindset that we have, I wouldn't be going as far. And I want to say thank you, AJ, because you definitely inspired me and have pushed me personally to start my YouTube channel, to start my coaching business, because although I had these ideas in the back of my mind and I have heard them, from other people, coming from a professional of your stature and all the followers that you have and stuff like that, the few conversations that we had, and I still have my notebook where I was like writing all the stuff down that you were telling me, but you're like, dude, why don't you have a course? And I'm like, again, negative self-doubt. I'm like, do I even know enough? And you're like, dude, get that course up here on CBN, like, let's do this, like, start the YouTube channel. It was definitely a huge motivation and the push that I needed. So I do want to say thank you so much. And thank you for, as I had mentioned in the interview I did with you, being a mentor of mine even before I knew who you were because of all those free resources that you had on your YouTube channel. So again, thank you so much for inspiring, motivating, and educating so many of us in the cleaning industry. And please share with us where we can support you and how to connect with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Carolyn. Yeah, so AJ Simmons on YouTube. That's like the number one spot. I'm active on Instagram too, so look me up. AJ, what is it? At AJ Simmons Online. But YouTube is definitely like my home. That's where I go to. If you want news from me, you probably gonna get it from YouTube. Definitely Instagram right after that. And then of course, join us in Clean Biz Network. You can go to cleanbiznetwork.com and check that out. But those are the main places. And hopefully I'll hear from y'all soon at some point. Reach out.
Absolutely. Shout out to Clean Biz Network, you guys. Make sure to check out Mr. AJ Simmons on his YouTube, Instagram, and get that membership. There's so much useful information. If you're looking to start a commercial cleaning business, he's figured it all out. There's no need to sit there and do hours and hours of YouTube and Google research. If you don't believe me, like I said, go check out his YouTube and definitely invest into that membership because it is well worth it. Do not go spend your money opening a franchise.
Oh, yeah.
and don't listen to anybody, as AJ mentioned, that is not where you want to be in life. But again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this interview with me. And I look forward to doing a follow-up interview, a couple of months down the line. And actually, even I can't wait to have the interview where you tell us you do 1.5, where you
Right.
cross that $1 million mark, because it's definitely inspirational. So thank you again for taking the time out of your day to do this interview with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Carolyn.